Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. And double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And salutations to the beloved prophets and brothers continue to exhort the sheep in these last days. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect listening in, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, shalom and shalom. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled, Be Wise About the Company You Keep. Be very wise about the company you keep. Not everyone is circumspect and watching for the things that have been prophesied and written aforetime for our learning. Not everyone is keeping their guard up. Not everyone is watching the wolf pace back and forth, looking whom he can devour. Not everyone is pushing the plow and writing these laws in our inward parts for the hopeful promise that we may be redeemed in the times to come when we most need it, when we're going to need it the most. So again, be wise about the company you keep, be circumspect, and observe the time, right? So let's go into the mighty book of Ecclesiasticus in your Apocrypha, found in chapter 27, verse 12. It reads, If thou be among the indiscreet, observe the time, but be continually among men of understanding. Some of us have 9 to 5s. Some of us have occupations that we cannot just separate ourselves from those that are indiscreet and not aware of the times. So that adds a little added pressure onto us because it almost feels like we have to be incognito. We have to be uneasy at times. But that's the lot. That's what it entails, because there wasn't given many this wisdom that we have been privy to. We have found favor in the eyes of the Most High Yahweh Yahawashi, and some of us understand the privilege and the honor and the love and the mercy that goes along with that, and we understand what the circumstances entail for those that continue to persevere and push this word for the edification of the sheep, right? So if thou be amongst the indiscreet, observe the time, but be continually among men of understanding. Some of us just cannot wait to get home to crack this book, to be in the comfort of his word, because this is where we eat. This is what gives us hope. This is what comforts us while we are amongst the wolves out in the world. We cannot see and pierce through the spirit like the Most High Yahweh Yahawashi can. We do not know the dark and ministering spirits that surround us all the time, but blessed be enough, the Most High Yahweh Yahawashi has given us the comforter to comfort us in the midst of this fallen kingdom, in this rebellious nation, this abominable nation. So observe the time and how much you spend around people that do not fear the Most High Yahweh Yahawashi, Salakia. But be wise about the company that you keep. Exodus chapter 23 and verse 2. It says, Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to rush judgment. Don't make excuses for why you're spending time with those that do not fear the Most High Yahweh Yahawashi. Yeah, you might find it an opportunity to put forth some edification when need be, so that way seeds are dropped along the way, so that way they know that a prophet had been among them and they were ultimately warned and the blood is off your hands. But be observant of the time that you are spending around those that do not keep his word, for this is an evil thing. Those that hearken not, it is considered an iniquity and a transgression against the Most High Yahawashi. This is the word. Proverbs 1. Proverbs chapter 1 Do not run with the multitude to do evil. So be very circumspect about the company you keep, because inwards they are ravenous wolves, looking whom they can devour. And Hasatan has a desire to sift you out. So be mindful. We are called to be holy, Kodash, set apart in every sense of the way, mentally, spiritually, and physically from this world. Resemble nothing like it. We're going to Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, starting from verse 10. It says, my son or my daughter, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Don't agree. Don't agree to get along just to get along. There's no let bygones be bygones. None of that. There's no gray areas. You're either for the Most High, Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, or you're seeking love from man. You're looking to get along just to go along. This is not what we're called to do. He says, I come to send a sword, a division, separating the righteous from the unrighteous, the sheep from the goats. If you have a desire in your heart to please the Most High and keep his ways and honor his ways with fear and reverence and repentant, that means to ultimately separate yourselves. No longer an all-nighter out in the bars or in the clubs, staying up all night, watching folly. Your chief desire should be to eat this word, to eat this bread, to put on righteousness, because we don't have much time. Time's running out. So, while there's a sifting process going on, you might want to fall into the lot of the hopeful elect of being preserved. My son or my daughter, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. No, I'm not going to leave my dwelling on the Sabbath to go fishing or barbecue or whatever, unless it's on the basis of keeping within the context of not doing your own will, but doing his will. And that's keeping his word in your mouth on the Sabbath in particularly. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. Either way, you slice this word. Do not yoke yourself with those that are continuing to stay within their folly, right? You're being unequally yoked with those on the outside, for this is a private setting, a holy congregation, those that fear and reverence the Most High Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, and take his word sincerely, seriously, for the wrath to come. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us, and us, cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. That means let us all be in agreement. You can liken this to some people who just want to go out and have fun. But in the context of what fun is to this world, it's sure to be set amongst sinners, doing something. Someone's going to be out there smoking. Someone's going to be drinking something and getting into an argument. You have deliberately yoked yourself with those that do not keep his ways, do not set themselves apart, and are not occupied in prophecy, but occupied in the matters of this world. Cast in thy lot amongst us, let us all have one purse, one agreement. My son or my daughter, walk not thou in the way of them, refrain thy foot from their path. This is deliberately having control of your actions. This world, this culture, in this nation, amongst the heathens, do not practice discipline. They discipline themselves to go and commit iniquity. They have a strong passion for bloodlust and hate and folly and fornication and all these things. This is what they have in their minds. Refrain thy foot from their path, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privately for their own lives. Right? There's snares set about us. In other words, there's snares set about us, either from those that are in high positions, the dark rulers of this world, and the minions that follow along right with them. There is a small cluster of grapes that look and seek to the favor of the Most High Yahweh, our power, to find grace and mercy in the times of calamity. This is why we are to observe the times and be diligent about how we spend our time and who we spend our time amongst. Or is the flock that you're running with in the same spirit of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai? Or is it just a mixed batch of confusion? Ask yourself these questions. Be diligent about what you do and how you observe these times, especially in these end times. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 33. It says, why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. Right, you're not the pillar of strength in the midst of those that need strong rebuke, but you just let folly continue. That doesn't concern me. That's over there. Yeah, I can hear the foul language and how, they talk about women and so on and so forth. We just want to live a nice, comfortable life and not have anything to do with the wicked ones. But if you find yourself in the midst of these situations, there's a duty to be called to, right? But just use wisdom. You're not trying to be a Torah police or anything like this. But do not certainly trim your ways to find favor with those that are outside of this circle of fear and reverencing the Most High Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. Right? Contend for the faith, but do not be over contentious to the point of being overthrown. And definitely do not trim your ways for the favor of others. This is enticing and this is running with the multitude to do wicked. So you're not being wise about the company you keep. And we are called to be circumspect and vigilant because our adversary is looking to overthrow us with snares and iniquity that are set before us. And this is part of his duty. But we keep the Most High Yahweh Yahweh Shai's word and we stay on that narrow path, that straight gate. No, I'm going to separate my time and devote my energy into building wisdom. I'm not going to do those things that are pleasing to the flesh, but I'm going to discipline myself and be that disciple that the Most High, or Yahweh Shai, might have reverence for and find me as a precious jewel to put in his ephod when he goes to make up those gems, right? This is the mindset. I have another verse here written. It seemed like it went along nicely with Jeremiah chapter 2 and 33, but let's see how it plays out. It's Proverbs 17 and Proverbs 17 and verse 9. It says, he that covereth a transgression seeketh love. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love. So you're willing to trim your ways just to seek the love of others and covering transgression. This is a no-no. This is a no-no. This is running with a multitude to do wickedness, right? But he that repeateth the matter separated very friends. When you continue to go off, you are now being separated from those that may be walking diligently in righteousness and putting on those garments, and you find yourself in the lot of 2/3. Be diligent and be wise about the company that you keep. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and 33. It reads, be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. Let's read that again. Be not deceived. Don't be deceived. Deception's on a rise. Deception's everywhere. In these last days, many will be deceived. Many will be overthrown. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. It also reads, bad company corrupts good habits. You spend too much time doing folly and running with those that are not serious about their father's business, you're going to find yourself going off. You're not going to find yourself having a prayer life. You're going to find yourself not being devoted to study. You're going to feel yourself wax and wax further and further away until that Ruach HaKodesh that has been placed upon you as favor be removed, lest thee repent and come back to the Father and go harder. Because he says you have need of endurance. This lot of a hopeful elect priest takes much endurance. Scales of an armadillo. We're surrounded by folly, surrounded by the lust of the flesh. It comes in so many forms and fashions. But we are being taught by Yahweh Shai himself how to wash our garments and walk upright, not as knuckle-dragging apes that run to folly, but now being separated and made into those righteous vessels of honor that can house that water, that good living water. We want to be separated and be wise about the company that we keep amongst us. Otherwise, you will develop wicked habits because those around you will corrupt you. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. And it's gradual. You keep these people around you. Gradually, you become a mirror of what wickedness is. Instead of standing firm on your own square and developing yourself in your own ministry, set aside for Yahweh Shai and become part of that holy body amongst the priests and the prophets and the teachers and the shepherds and the bishops and the apostles of great millstone. You will not be preserved. You are out in your folly. Matthew 10. Let's go to Matthew 10. Matthew 10. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16 and 17. It reads, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. This is Yahweh Shai speaking. He says, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Who? Who's he sending out? He's sending out his elect. He's sending out his chosen. He's sending out those that he had made an intercession for in the beginning of time. Predestinated lot. John chapter 17 mentions this. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We can see all the craftiness that the adversary on the left-hand side puts forth and deceives others, as we hopefully are on the left-hand side watching all these things transpire and also making mention and warning of it. So that way, the one that's in the midst of it all has an opportunity to hear the truth or can be taken away by the lie. So he says, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men. Be wise about the company you keep. Be wise about those individuals around you. He says to prove these people by the Spirit, right? And you have to be, very cautious because not everybody's moving the same way. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. If this happens, it happens. Simple as that. But be circumspect. Be aware of these individuals. Know that they're in their darkness. They're in their folly. You can just hold your own ground and not be partakers of it. So you don't share in judgment with them. He says, though hand in hand, the righteous shall not go unpunished. And if you go trimming your ways to seek love just to find love amongst these people, you're going to find yourself in harsh judgments along with them. That's the word. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs. Yeah. Proverbs chapter 15. Proverbs chapter 15. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 17. I know you guys heard this before. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. Again, if you trim your ways to seek love, you might find yourself in a company of people that celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving. You just trimmed your way to seek the favor and love of your relatives and friends and family. This is also a no-no, because now you have just shown favor and respect unto people, and you are not supposed to do that, because he is not a respecter of persons, and neither are we. There's no emotion in it. His word is the word. There's no word in it. You know, I mean, there's no fleshly carnal attachment when it comes to dividing the word and using the word amongst people. There's no staying within the flesh. You know, sometimes this word is supposed to offend. You know, sometimes you might find yourself in the company of you know, some adults, and because of their age, they feel as though they don't need to be corrected. But that's a big but. Where correction is needed, he says, don't hold your tongue. You know, if there's an occasion to speak wise things, do so. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, where the poor are, those that keep his law, statutes, and commands, you know, rather than trimming your ways to seek those that seem to have it all figured out. Another way I've heard this before is, I'd rather eat crumbs with bums than eat steaks with snakes. I know some of you heard that before too. Let's go to Proverbs 16 and verse 19. Proverbs 16 verse 19. Be wise about the company you keep. Better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Right? Didn't Moses do that? Moses did that. He said, I'd rather be with my people and suffer the bondage of these people rather than have fun for a short time. Yahweh Shai, he had full power and authority to do all things on earth. But he stayed within that precious lot because he thought ahead. He thought about the elect that he was doing his lot for. His meat, they did not know what his meat was, but he knew what his portion was. He knew what he had to fulfill, and he persevered, and he did it, and he made an example and a blueprint how we should do it as well, to be favored by the Father. Better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. Do not run with the multitude to do wickedness, right? If sinners entice thee, go not with them. You don't have to work overtime and, you know, do all these things and celebrate at the end of the week with a six-pack and football, whatever it is. Devote your time wisely and be wise about the company you keep. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach, found in your Apocrypha. Sirach chapter 8. Sirach chapter 8. Where we at? Sirach chapter 8, verse 8 and 9. Despise not the discourse of the wise. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 8 and verse 8. It reads, despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs. These are the wise men that the Most High Yahweh Shai has resurrected in these end times, and he has blessed them with a portion that is so magnificent that a prophet is subject unto that prophet. And what they bring to the favor is what they bring to the table is healing for the spirit, that wisdom that is pronounced upon them. We are grateful for the ministry and the body of Hamashiach Yahushai, that the Father is bringing back those bones, sinews, and the breath that has entered into him. Despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs. For of them thou shalt learn instructions and how to serve great men with ease. Right? There's plenty of living waters to be found in the ministry of Great Millstone. I can speak on that because I have eaten and drank from the tables of these wise men and have found myself in prosperity and safety and abundance. I have tons of testimonies. And I praise Yahweh Yahushai for it. He says, do not bring blame to the ministry. Feed the ministry, edify the body, support the body, defend the body. These are kings being risen. Real, live kings in the flesh being risen up, and ultimately will be put in power to be ruler and have dominion over the tributaries of the earth. Ecclesiasticus chapter 8 and verse 9. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers. As generations pass, wisdom is being handed down, and some have the blessing of having a magnanimous amount of wisdom being passed onto them to walk in safe passage, not having to figure it out and stumble their whole life. But the elders contain that wisdom of fortunes and misfortunes, which is a blessing for the generations to come, to walk in the ways of the wise and not in the ways of the foolish. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and to give answers as much requireth. There's nothing more beautiful than a young vessel containing much wisdom. It's like, can't imagine when you're full grown. It's a beautiful thing, right? So be wise about the company you keep. Yahushua surrounded himself with men of wisdom, and he taught in his synagogues, very young age. You know, he found favor in the sight of all men, right? He found favor. They said, yo, when he comes around, stiffen up your back and watch your mouth. Pull your pants up too. Sirach chapter 9, verse 15 and 16. Let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High. He says there are those that spoke often one to another. And the Most High Yahushua is going to have a remembrance of it when he goes to make up his jewels that day. We often talk about our Father and his laws and his magnificent word and righteousness and prophecy and judgments and everything that contains in this literature, this wisdom right here, this inspired word of the Most High Yahushua is written for our learning. Let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High, and let just men eat and drink with thee. Just men are those that are observing the times, are doing the work, are studying to show themselves approved, separating themselves from iniquity and folly, putting off this mortal flesh, mortifying the members, building up and magnifying the ministry, and magnifying the name of Yahushua, and staying firm and busy in the work. And let just men eat and drink with thee. Be wise about the company you keep. And let just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of Yahweh. No, it's not us sitting around a table just, you scared of dad too? Yeah, we're scared of dad. No, we talk about his mercy and his strong arm and his favor, and all the things that are set to behold as the sword is being sharpened in these last days. Repent while you have time to do it. Let's go into 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 8. 2nd Esdras chapter 8, and we'll grab verse 50 and 51. 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50 and 51. It says, For many great miseries shall be done to them in the latter time. I'll read that again. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. In these latter times, there are many walking in great pride. If you are mixing and mingling with these people, you're going to find yourself subject to the penalties of judgment and wrath alongside with them. There is this 4th of July celebration that the heathens are going to be partaking in with their fireworks and Budweisers, and they're screaming at the lakes and their big trucks and blah, 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 blah. They're not cognizant of the times that we are living in. They are in the house of mirth. They're living out the last of their empire. We are being resurrected from the valley of dry bones in expectation of Yahushai's second coming and the wrath that comes set before us by the eyes and the hands of the Most High Yahweh Yahushai. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. But understand thou for thyself. Understand this report for yourself. If you believe on the report, then you have been sealed from the time of believing. This is what's in the scriptures. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. Those that are running the race and are doing the things, run with them. Right? Because he says, roughly paraphrasing, that every creature will flock to its like. Right? And we've heard it in the world. Those of a feather flock together, and we are running with the sheep, the Lord's sheep, right? But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. For unto you is paradise opened, the tree of life is planted. Right? We want to be grafted back into that tree of life because of unbelief. Our forefathers were broken off, but that gave us the hopeful blessing of being that adopted sons and daughters unto the tree of life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteous is made ready. It's already written in the heavens what's to come to the children of Yasha Allah. All 12 tribes, it's already right here. I can read it dime a dozen. The blessings to come, the favor to come, the promises to come, the truth that's therein. He is a man that it will not lie, and not one word will return back to him void. For unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time to come is prepared. Plenteous is made ready, a city is builded. The rest is allowed. All we got to do now is wake up and get dressed. And rest is allowed. This is not your rest, Micah 2 and 10. Is going to be utterly destroyed. And rest is allowed. He says, I'm going to make a covenant of peace with them. They're going to rest safely in their lands. They're going to build up vineyards. They're going to build houses. And we're going to have the heathens as our inheritance, because this is the inheritance promised to Jacob. Rulership. For unto you is paradise open, the tree of life is planted, the time is come prepared, plenteous is made ready, and city is built, and rest is allowed, yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. Right? But without wisdom, you can't do nothing. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. You have to be instructed in the ways of righteousness. This is learning in the ways of righteousness. If you gravitate to this, it's because you gravitate to righteousness, a higher standard of moral principles and law that was written in the heavens aforetime, and way, way back, on how to operate and govern the earth in righteousness and keep a perfect balance. Because of our fall, the heathens are running wild and destroying everything. The animals are crying out. The trees are crying out. The water is getting sick. The earth is starting to get really, really disturbed. Right? Let's go to Sirach. Almost done. Sirach chapter 6, verse 7. Be wise about the company you keep, and be very cognizant of those around you. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 6 and starting at verse 7. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. You know, probe out what these spirits are all around you, you know. Those that are in the ministry, and we've been blessed to receive this eye salve and have the ears to hear. We know when the song sounds off. We can make slight corrections here and there if that be an opportunity, but only if that be an opportunity. The Most High, Yahweh Shai, has told us to go unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel and wake them up. He has made you watchmen for the house of Israel. He didn't send you to a people of a strange language. He sent you to the house of Israel. Sirach chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wilt get his friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. Oh, he's a good guy. He gave me a pie once. Oh, I got some gas money from her. You know, she's all right. No, he says, test the spirit. If thou wouldst get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. Yeah, now you will just be a misfortune under people, right? But when you're doing good and prospering, that's when you become the world's greatest friend. Right? For some men is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in thee in the day of trouble. And there is a friend who, being turned to enmity and strife, will discover thy reproach. Now they're tallying up all your mistakes, and they're going to use it against you, alongside with your woman, if you allow her to know too much about you as well. You know, they just seek out these opportunities to just dwindle you down and destroy you if they can. Again, some friend is a companion at the table, and will not continue in the day of affliction. These are fake people. These are people filled with iniquity. They serve their belly and they serve mammon. They do not serve and fear the Most High Yahweh Shai, because if they did, they would continue with us. They wouldn't go wayward. They wouldn't go that way. They wouldn't go this way. They wouldn't be susceptible to ignorance and folly and iniquity. But in thy prosperity, he will be as thyself, and will be bold over thy servants. Now he is made to be made equal unto you when you're in prosperity. But in the day of your calamities, they will not continue with you, right? They used you up, and that's it. You're discarded. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee, and will hide himself from thy face. 13. Separate thyself from thine enemies, and take heed of thy friends. Be wise about the company you keep. Not everybody in your life is in your life to prosper you and or bless you, but is there to make your life a living hell. A faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such a one hath found treasure. Treasure. Let's go to Psalms 119. Psalms 119. Again, be wise about the company you keep. You know, it's always sifting going on, but you have to maintain the course and have endurance. Build your endurance, build your patience, continue to stay in prayer and favor with the Most High Yahweh. Well, Yahweh Shai, stay in constant communication with the Father every single second of the day, no matter what it is. Do you want me to take the trash out right now, or should I wait? Should I do this? Should I do that? Pray about everything. Ask for guidance. The Father is there for you to receive guidance. Do not ask in vain, but believe. Have that rapport with the Father. Stay in constant communication. Do not go too long without talking to the Father. Psalms 119 and verse 76. I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and them that keep thy precepts, to the law and to the testimony. If they do not speak according to this word, is because there is no light in them. Stay amongst those that are ignited and have their lamps lit and have plenty of oil and that can share. I'm a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. Right? Be wise about the company you keep. Be a companion of all those that fear the Most High Yahweh Shai, and them that keep his precepts. You know how you know if they keep his precepts? The word was going to be on their tongue every single second if you're in the midst of the congregation. That's the topic of today, right? Final verse. 1 Peter 1:16. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 16, it says, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. Be ye holy, for he is holy. He is set apart. He's Kodash. And we are to be the same. We are to be that mirror of righteousness and hope to put on that amount of righteousness and wisdom to be holy, for he is holy, right? To be set apart, you know, be amongst the flock, be amongst men of understanding, be occupied in prophecy. This is what is written, right? For be ye holy, for he is holy. And with that, I pray this was edifying to the elect. The Wada Abanawa Yahweh for another opportunity and another day to bring forth some edification to the flock. And with that, Shalom.